Coops in general are really expensive. I mean, you're looking anywhere between a few $100s to even up to a few $1,000s. What I ended up doing is I got onto our local classified section. For here in Utah, that's going to be ksl.com. Everywhere else, that's going to be the equivalent of maybe, let's say, a Craigslist. And for us here, our county actually has like a yard sale page where everybody posts different things they have for sale. Whatever classifieds you're looking at, get on there and look for sheds, used sheds. Now, if you really do a lot of digging and searching and really put some time into it, you can find a good shed for a small amount of money. I was able to find quite a few sheds for anywhere between $300 and $500, and that was pretty good. But I wasn't about to spend $300 or $500 on a shed. I wanted something cheaper. And after about 2 months, I was able to find this shed here behind me, and I paid $100 for it. And then after that, actually, a month after I bought this one, this same exact shed was on KSL for $100, and it was still in the box. For the entire chicken coop I have back here, I paid roughly $200. It's actually probably closer to $195 with everything that I have in it. Please keep in mind that this is dependent on where you live, but we have the luxury of living right next to the city where there's a whole lot of people that when they buy a house and have a shed, they don't want to keep that shed there, and they're just trying to get rid of it as quickly as possible. And with that being said, let's jump up and head into the coop and show you exactly how we built it. One of the first things you're going to want to do once you get your shed is cut a door in it so that way the chickens can get in and out. We've used two different styles of door, and this is actually the second style. The first style was more of a DIY style, and we had a pulley system that went up to where we could open and close it manually. I have a video about that, and I'll leave it in the description below, as well as a video we have on this automatic door right here. But realistically, it doesn't matter what kind of door you use. Just get a door in your coop and use something that you can actually close, so that way you can close off any predators from getting in at night. We really like these automatic doors because we can just kind of set it and forget it. It opens up when the sun comes up and it closes when the sun goes down. We don't have to worry about it. So I adjusted my brightness on this one so that way you can see the birds in the back. Another thing you're going to want to do is get a roost inside your coop. And you can see my girls on the roost in the back here. It's a cold winter day. They're just up there hanging out in the coop. A roost is going to be extremely important because that's where your birds feel safe. That is their safe place. That's where they go to sleep and just kind of hang out, do their thing. They're all up there right now. And you want to make sure that you're providing that safe space for them. Now for us, we created just kind of a ladder system and put it all the way up against that back wall back there. And it's worked out really well for us. I don't have it connected to the coop at all. I actually have two little cinder blocks that kind of hold the legs in place. And then the top, I just kind of leaned up against the wall there. And these birds absolutely love it. Anytime they're in the coop, if they're not eating or in their nest or drinking, they're going to be up there on the roost. If you're curious to how I built this one, I did make a video on that, and I'll put that in the description below. Your coop is going to need nesting boxes, extremely important. They need a place to go in and lay their eggs, right? So make sure you get nesting boxes in your coop. You want at least one nesting box for every 4 birds. You can either build nesting boxes, buy pre-made nesting boxes, or use something like I did. My wife actually came home one day and had these little totes with her that she got at Walmart, and these have worked perfectly for us for nesting boxes. We've been using them for about 2 years now, and the birds love them. I also made a video about this, and I'll put that in the description as well. If you're getting value from this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Consider subscribing to our channel. It tells YouTube that you enjoyed the video, and it really helps us out a lot. I appreciate it. One really good thing about having a shed for a coop is you can use the deep litter method really, really well. So what happens is a lot of times when you get a shed, they come with shelves up on the walls, right? Well, those shelves are the length of the wall. This right here is one of the shelves. So what I did is I just took the shelf and laid it down right along the front door here. And so when you walk in, yeah, you have to step over it, but it also holds a lot of this deep litter method all inside the coop. So what I do is in the spring, I take out all the litter that I used the year before and I put it out there in the garden. And then I also replace all the litter that was in here. I'll use a lot of wood shavings and stuff like that, and I'll put it in. As the birds get that dirty and poop on it and stuff, you just put more on and more on and more on. And then by the time you get to the next spring, you have some really good fertilizer in here, and it never gets smelly, it never gets dirty, because you can just pile it up and pile it up and pile it up, and it never gets too full in here. That's probably been my favorite thing about having a shed for a coop. I can have a lot of bedding in here, and especially during the winter like right now, it gives the birds a little bit more insulation, creates a little bit of heat. It's just really good for them. So if you're using a shed for a coop, definitely look into these little shelves here, or maybe just get like a 2x8 or something like that. Lay it down here so that we can hold that bedding in there really well, and it's not just falling out every time you open the door. The next thing you want to do is add ventilation to your coop. Sheds come with a little bit of ventilation like up in the front, but not much, not enough for a chicken in the hot summer. So you're going to want to add some additional ventilation. We didn't really do anything too crazy. We drilled some 3-inch holes like you can see right there, and we put some hardware cloth on there so nothing can get in or out. Luckily our coop is below a ton of trees, so we get a lot of natural shade. We ended up doing 6 vents. We put 3 on each side. We didn't really need a whole lot. Even though we get some hot summers here, these girls are always in the shade. If you're curious on how we did this ventilation, there is also a video on that, and I will leave that in the description as well. So much dust in here. You're gonna wanna add a way to feed your chicken. We used a garbage can and we put some PVC fittings in here so that way they can put their head in, they can get the food, but when they pull it out, it doesn't really create a whole lot of mess. We also have a video on how we built this. I will put that in the description as well. Now, during the summer, we can kind of get away with using different types of waters because they don't freeze. And during the summer, this is what we use. We have a bucket, we have these little chicken nipples that we put here, and then we set the bucket over here in the corner and the chickens just, they go to town, they love it. Once again, we also have a video on this. I'll put that in the description. But during the winter, all we do is we just have a shallow dish, a pretty big shallow dish that we come out here once, twice a day. We dump out the ice, we refill it with fresh water. It's kind of a lot to deal with in the winter. We're thinking about getting a heated water, but we'll look at that later. If you don't have free-ranging chickens that when you open your door, they just go out into the yard. This is the run we built right here. Kind of see it behind me. We just used 2x4s, framed it out, and we put some fencing around it. It was nothing too crazy, too special. It's really just the simplest little design you can possibly think of, but it does its job. The chickens can come out here, hang out during the day, and then they go back into the coop at night. If we do come out here to hang out with the kids or something, we'll let the birds out and they'll run and frolic around the yard. But hooking it up was easy. I ended up fencing in the entire thing, and then where the door opening is I just cut a hole in the fence right there at the door opening, put it up against the shed, and then nailed it in right there. So that way no predators can get in through that door hole. If you're wanting to go just a little bit more in depth on everything we did here in this chicken coop, we actually made a playlist right here, and this playlist has how we made the chicken roost, the nesting boxes, the water, the feeder, all of it. So go check out this playlist right here, and it's going to tell you everything in depth. I'll see you over there.